Hello, I'm Amber Scott, a principal artist here at the Australian Ballet. Today I'm going to be speaking with some very special ladies about the process of rehabilitation and how it works here in the Australian Ballet. I'll be speaking with Sophie Emery, our physiotherapist, Megan Connolly, ballet mistress and rehabilitation coach specialist, and choreographer Riley Lappin, on what it's like going through the process, the ups and downs, and some really interesting insights into this very important part of the company. So let's go meet the ladies now. Hi Megan, thank you for chatting.
Hi Amber, it's a pleasure.
We're so interested to hear about some rehab behind the scenes, so thank you for speaking and sharing all your insights. From my personal experience with you when I've been recovering, being in the studio can be a really emotional time. And as the coach, you are the sounding board, psychologist, a shoulder to cry on. How have you found the skills in yourself to absorb so many of the dancers' personal challenges through your years of rehabbing us?
I think one of the strengths of the Australian Ballet is that we have a team approach, and I don't think any of us ever feels like we're working in isolation to support the dancer. What I've endeavoured to do over the years and what I've tried to develop is to be empathetic and sensitive. The studio space can be a really vulnerable place for a dancer when they first come back into the studio after being away. And through that time, it's really giving them space to find themselves. You know, teaching is a conversation. It's a two-way relationship. So sometimes it's a matter of building their confidence back into themselves and their bodies and trusting their bodies again. I guess is just gently finding our way through to that. And that's done through as much not talking as talking. And even just in the construction of the exercises and the way we sometimes even set the studio up. Yeah, I try to respond to the needs as best I can.
Hi Soph.
Hey, how are you, Amber?
I'm good. Thank you for chatting to us and answering some questions about what it's like being a physio here at the Australian Ballet.
No worries.
What are some of the qualities that you see develop in a dancer once they've been through a long rehab?
It's so rewarding. I think the biggest thing is their understanding of their body. We give as much information as we can about their injury, why it might have happened, the technical things that they could change to prevent it happening again, and exercises, like learning how to manage their body, which exercises work best for them, how that applies to the studio. So I think dancers become incredibly smart about their body going forward.
And I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about Riley's rehab, and was it particularly challenging?
It was. Riley did such a good job. So it was challenging for a couple of reasons. The first was it went for a long time. So she had niggles in her feet in the final year of her schooling, and then came into the company still with some discomfort. And then it kind of niggled on for approximately 18 months in total. She carried it, and she wasn't off for that period of time, but we were just managing it. We had a hiccup, unfortunately. She got back after a year and then just had one incident where she reheard it, and then it took another probably 8 months from there. And unfortunately, a lot of that time was in COVID. So she was in lockdown, actually over in Adelaide, in varying houses in Adelaide, and having to rehab via Microsoft Teams. So she did such a good job, and I've never checked so many exercises via a video monitor in my life. So it was challenging, but I think rewarding for everyone.
And finally, do you love working with dancers?
Yes.
Yes. Why is that?
Everyone's so intelligent. Everyone's so in tune with their bodies. People are not afraid to ask questions. So you say, look, I'd like you to do this. Typically, they know so much about themselves already. They're like, why? How is that going to help? So as I said, you educate. It's a conversation. It's not just me telling someone what to do. It's so rewarding.
Hello, Riley.
Hey, Adams, how are you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for chatting to me today about the process of rehabilitation in the Australian Ballet.
Yeah.
And have you experienced a significant injury that required you to step back and rehab? And if you did, what was this actual injury?
Yeah, I guess not the most significant injury that you could get. It wasn't career-ending or even what would have been thought to have been a long rehab at first. In 2018, when we were on regional tour, I kind of pinched or twinged my FHL, which caused kind of long-term tenosynovitis on my right ankle. And at the time, I was kind of worried about just finishing that tour, not really realising that it would kind of be a little bit more extensive than that.
Did you develop any new personal strengths during this time, like either physically from all the conditioning or mentally?
Yeah, I mean, you can't not develop some sort of mental fortitude and resilience, or find it within yourself that was already there. So definitely kind of determination, but in the same breath also general strength, because obviously there was a weakness there for the injury to have happened in the first place. Yeah, and again, kind of that clarity of passion that was really kind of clear to me. Yeah, I guess we're in a time where it feels like you can't be productive and you can't be, you feel really helpless and like there's nothing you can do to kind of make this go faster or kind of speed up the process. I kind of just kept going back to the thought that the fact that this is so hard is a good thing, because if it wasn't, then you know, it would mean that I didn't love it. So
yeah, that's so true. Sometimes hard to go through, but like, yeah, it reminds us why we do it.
yeah.
What would you tell young Riley now, before you sustain the injury, like when you were first training at the Australian Ballet School? Would you give yourself some sort of advice?
I guess I'd just say, like, that trust that your journey is your own journey, and that everything that you will learn and everything that you'll go through will bring about, things will come as a result of that lead you to be who you need to be and who you are.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
I just try to believe that kind of something that comes from something that's really hard will be something really good.
Yes.
Riley, she is just one of the super sharpest, intelligent dancers, so highly motivated that she made it really easy, and she made it really easy for us to delve into her technique and find a way forward. She's one of those rehabs that every day grew, and now it's been a couple of years since that rehab, and watching her now, I see how much of what she discovered in that time is absolutely embedded in her technique. You know, she's someone that just took that opportunity and ran with it. So I find those sort of rehabs, even years later, I still draw a lot of inspiration from those experiences.
And lastly, how does it feel when you see a dancer return to the stage after a long rehab?
So I'm laughing, Amber, because this is the second time you've asked me that question. Because the first time you asked me that question, I burst into tears. And that's because I have done quite a few, not I, the entire Australian Ballet medical team have rehabbed a number of dancers after significant rehabs back onto the stage, and there's really nothing like it. It's really, I'm a mum as well, so I guess it's just seeing your baby, your bird fly from the nest, and you're really just so happy and proud to see someone regain themselves, but not as they were before. You see them just become a better artist and maybe a better person, and it's just super exciting.
Oh, that's so special.